Good afternoon, seventh grade Bobcats. Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to another great week at the Helena Middle School. On today's Bob lesson, this is a Bob lesson I put together a year ago, kind of in the middle of the pandemic where things were still super strange, masks 2 days a week, all of that nightmare that we'd all like to forget. But one of the things with the pandemic is a lot of things became painfully clear to me. I think so much, being a seventh grader especially, I was talking with a student here just this morning about the difference between sixth grade and seventh grade and how much harder it is, and developmentally there's real reasons behind it with puberty and adolescence and certain chapters that you go from childhood to being a teenager and adolescence and all these other things that are connected to it. And for the first time in life, I think a lot of students, especially seventh graders into eighth grade, start realizing, wow, I have more things to manage. Like life is more challenging. People are more challenging to deal with. My emotions are more challenging to deal with. Dealing with life, all those other things. And so many people want just an easy fix. And I'm here to tell you that there are no real easy fixes sometimes in life, especially when it comes to your mental health. I have noticed, and this is one of the things that the pandemic pointed out, and one of the things I've actually noticed in my own life is holistic, meaning a whole, how you are living your life. And if you are living your life the right way, with mindfulness and intentionally focused on making decisions that are good for your mental health, how all those little things start to add up. And I'm not saying you're going to feel perfect, and it's not going to take your struggles and your challenges away, but it does help so much. Things like exercise, fresh air, putting your dang cell phones down or your tablets down and your technology down, getting plenty of sleep, your diet and the things you put into your body, drinking plenty of water, all of these things. I snagged an apple here, making myself eat fruit. So I wanted to roll through that today. Wish I would have got on this a little bit earlier in the year, but better late than never. I hope you guys take it to heart, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, we're off and running on this week's Bob lesson: holistic mental well-being. But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be Bob. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. Let's be respectful. Let's be a learner. All right, as I talked about in the intro, I've become a firm believer that mental, emotional well-being is kind of a conglomerate of different parts of our life. And right here, I've got 9 different things that I'm going to go through: exercise, activity, faith, sleep, resources, utilizing resources. That would be self-care, relationships, limiting phone time, academic, investment, diet, and there may be more that I'm forgetting. All right, the first one is sleep, and I'm blown away sometimes when I'm talking to some of you students to hear some of your sleeping patterns, i.e. how late you guys go to sleep, staying up till 11, 12, 1 in the morning on a weeknight. It is absolutely crazy to me. Scientists say and medical doctors say that kids your age should be getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. That means if you're waking up at 6:30 in the morning, the latest you should be going to sleep, and that means falling asleep, is 10:30. The earlier end of that would be 8:30. I know myself, I am so busy. I'm in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock, hopefully falling asleep by 9:30 at the latest. So many of you wake up and you're not ready to rock and roll, and sleep deprivation can really wreak havoc on your mental and emotional well-being. It puts you at higher risk for anxiety, less able to be focused in school, and there's a bunch of health repercussions that come with it. So one thing to check is, are you getting enough sleep? Furthermore, when you are going to sleep, are you putting your tablet down an hour before you're trying to get to sleep? So many times when you're on that thing and your brain is activated and it's going back and forth, and it's stimulated, and then we put the phone down, we try to go to sleep. It takes our brain and our body a while to adjust from the stimulation to be able to get into sleep mode. Next area is diet, and thinking about not only are we drinking enough water every day so that we don't become dehydrated, but are we eating good foods? Anything that's got color to it, greens, vegetables, fruits, those things are all high in nutrients that have direct correlation with emotional and mental well-being. When we are eating processed foods, when we are eating too much sugars, that has a direct result on our brain and the chemicals that we are putting in our body. If you check out my lunch plate, I love going through the salad bar every day, getting some salad, getting some greens, getting some vegetables, getting some fruits, getting my milk. You see me walking around school with my water bottle. That's for a very real reason. When I'm not taking care of my diet, not taking care of my hydration, it literally affects my mental outlook and how I feel day-to-day basis. Exercise and activity. This is something that the average teenager probably does not get enough of. Our wonderful PE teachers and our wonderful health teachers stress this, I know, all the time, but getting out every day and getting your heart rate up, even if it's not even doing exercise, even if it's putting the phone down, which I'll address in another slide, putting the phone down and getting away from that and getting out in nature, getting some fresh air, getting out and being active is so very important. When you exercise, some of the same dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, some of those same feel-good chemicals that are released when you do drugs or you vape or you consume alcohol, those things that are quick fixes for brain chemistry, some of those same chemicals are released during exercise and activity. So that's a very natural and healthy way to stimulate and be your best mentally and emotionally. I know this one is a huge one for kids your age, but checking your relationships. Are your friendships in a good spot? For those of you that are doing the romantic thing, is your romantic relationship in a good spot? Even though it's very difficult to have your romantic relationship in a good spot at this age. How is your relationships with your family members? When those relationships aren't healthy and we're not putting in work on those, and those are falling apart, your mental health is going to fall apart with it. We are social creatures as human beings, as middle school students, as adults. We need those healthy relationships. So putting in work in your relationships so those are in a good place are going to have a direct correlation on your mental and emotional well-being. These next two I have in the order I do for a very real reason. And the next one's academic investment. Academics should be the core of what we're working on right now as 13 and 14-year-olds moving into high school when we're 15-year-olds. Taking care of business. When you're an adult, this looks like taking care of business at your job. If you're academically investing in your future, that is going to add to your mental well-being because you're giving yourself hope, you're giving yourself a plan, you're giving yourself purpose as to what is it that I am doing here on earth. What is my greater goal? What is my greater purpose? If you're working every day and you're taking care of business academically, and that should lend to feeling good about the investment and the future that you are setting up for yourself. Once you have put in that academic investment and we have done all these other things, are we taking time every day for self-care? If you'll recall, self-care is anything that you enjoy doing that is kind of your recharge. This could be walking your dog. This could be exercising. This could be spending time with friends. This could be spending time to read a book. This could be spending time to go for a hike. This is anything that is your thing that you enjoy doing, that you're going to carve out a little bit of time every day for you. It's kind of like if we were eating a dinner and we had a full course meal. Self-care is kind of like the dessert on top, or the dessert after you have eaten all your food. Next one should come as no surprise. It's probably not going to be a popular one either, but it is putting those phones down, limiting phone time. The research just continues to point to the same thing, that these phones are making human beings, especially teenagers, unhappy. I've done multiple Bob lessons on cell phones and screen time and what that is doing to young people in their mental health. Having the discipline to put that thing down and not be on it all the time. It is such a false sense of well-being or happiness. We are becoming addicted to these things. We are becoming addicted to being on them, and the brain chemistry that comes with that, the dopamine that comes with that. But that is very unhealthy enmeshment that many of us have with these phones. So being able to limit the phone time, specifically at night, putting that thing down, putting that thing in the other room when it's time to go to sleep, so that we can focus on winding down and getting that 8 to 10 hours of sleep that many of us, all of us, really need. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time with this one because this one varies from person to person, but if you are somebody of faith and your faith is important, making time, whether it be every day or every week, to spend time devoting to your faith. Last but not least is resources and utilizing resources. The main one that comes to mind when I think about mental and emotional well-being is taking time to talk to a trusted somebody if you have things going on in life. Taking time to talk with either your friends or your parents or trusted adults about things going on in life. Life is going to throw you curveballs. Life is like being at the ocean and having the waves come. They come. Some waves are bigger than others, some are more spaced out than others, but waves are going to come and hit you in life. When waves come and hit you and threaten your mental and emotional well-being, are you going to utilize those resources around you to invest in your own mental and emotional well-being? So once again, I went through 9 different domains of mental, emotional well-being. I've got them up here, and for some of you, some may be more important than others, but once again, I want you to think about mental and emotional well-being as being a holistic thing, meaning it's made up of many different components. And I encourage you to do a quick checklist as to, are you taking care of business in all of these areas that I talked about today? So many times it's about life is about balance. Life is about finding balance and finding balance in things that are important. That brings us to this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week winners, who are Richard Kirk, Asher Croston, Taryn Royer, Mackenzie Graham, and Nathan Millette. The answer is carpet. This week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week is, you have 5 cows, 2 dogs, and 1 cat. How many legs do you have? If you think you know the answer, submit your answer to Bob Box no later than this Friday. Tune in next week. See if you are a winner. Let's go out and make it a great week, Bobcats. All right, let's give away some jelly beans. This week's winners: Ava DePizzle, Cody Ott, Bree Pineda, Hunter Pettit, and Cale Covey. What word could be reads the same, whether it's forward, backwards, upside down? And the answer was noon. If you think all caps, it's noon. I did reward a couple swims, even though if you put swims upside down or backwards, it's an S is turned. But I'm in a good mood, so I decided to be gratuitous today. All right, this week's Jelly Bean Question of the Week: if you have 2 dogs, 1 cat, and a lizard, how many legs do you have? If you think you know the answer, submit your answer to the Bob Box. Get it in by the end of the week. Tune in next week to see if you're a winner. All right, Bobcats, let's make it a great week at the helm.